Hello, welcome to Unbelievable Tales.
What would you do if you saw a young woman trembling in the baby aisle, stuffing a pack of diapers into her coat and then freezing in front of your security camera? Liam Radcliffe didn't build his empire by being soft. But that night, behind his store's monitors, something in her eyes stopped him. No rage. No excuses. Just raw fear. She didn't run. She just stood there, holding a few dollars and whispering, "I'm sorry, he's sick." I didn't know what else to do. That moment didn't end with a call to the police. It began with a decision that would change both their lives forever. Before we dive into the story, comment below where you're watching from. Enjoy the story, everyone. The store was almost empty, just the hum of fluorescent lights, the buzz of a flickering exit sign, and the low crackle of security cameras feeding into a dim back office. Liam Ashford leaned against the edge of the desk, black suit pristine, sleeves rolled, tie loosened. He had stopped by his own grocery chain's smallest location unannounced, something he did when his head needed clearing. Numbers bored him today. Profit margins couldn't silence the echo in his chest. It was almost midnight. Then the movement on the screen caught his eye. A girl. Young. Slender frame wrapped in a cheap gray hoodie 2 sizes too big. She moved like she didn't want to be seen, her steps hesitant. Her cheeks were flushed, eyes darting. She paused in the baby aisle, glanced up at the camera, not long, just enough, and then slid a small pack of diapers into the folds of her coat. Liam straightened, eyes narrowing. She wasn't fast. Wasn't smooth. She looked scared. He tapped a button. Zoomed in. Under the hoodie was a face far too young to be carrying the weight she clearly did. Pale, tired, beautiful in a haunting way. Her lips moved as if whispering something. Then she glanced at the exit. Didn't run. Just froze. And that's when he saw it, a crumpled $5 bill in her hand. Like she was still trying to pretend this wasn't theft. Like she wanted to pay but knew it wasn't enough. He didn't call the police. He walked. The cold air of the aisle hit him as he stepped out from the back. She hadn't noticed him. She was clutching the small pack of diapers against her chest now, as if it were a newborn. Her eyes were brimming, mouth trembling. "Put it back," he said calmly. She gasped and whirled around, nearly dropping the package. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, please don't call anyone. I own the store, he said, voice cool. So that's up to me. Her face fell. She looked even younger up close. Maybe 24. Her shoes were soaked, one with the soles separating. Her eyes locked with his, deep brown, hollowed by sleepless nights, panic threading through every word she tried to form. "My son, he's sick. I ran out of diapers this morning. I called my job but they cut my hours. I tried. I really tried." Liam didn't speak. He studied her for a moment. Not the desperate tremble in her fingers or the guilt curving her shoulders, but the pride still flickering behind the shame. She hadn't cried. Not yet. She hadn't begged. "What's your name?" he asked. "Eva. You have a receipt for those?" She swallowed. "No." He stepped closer, gently reached out and took the package from her arms. She flinched but didn't resist. Then he turned around and walked to the nearest checkout lane. "What are you, He scanned the diapers, slid his card, and handed her the bag. "Next time, ask," he said. Eva stared at the bag like it had bitten her. "Why are you helping me? I've seen thieves. You're not one." And with that he turned to leave. "Wait," she whispered. "Why would you care? You're rich. You own this place." He stopped just before the doors. "Exactly. Which means I can choose what to do with people like you." And then he was gone, leaving her clutching a paid-for pack of diapers, heart pounding in disbelief. But for Liam Ashford, that night wasn't over. Because when he got into his car and replayed the footage again, he couldn't stop watching her face. And he didn't know why. Not yet. Eva sat on the edge of her old mattress that night, staring at the unopened pack of diapers like it might vanish. The room was dark, save for the dim glow from the hallway and the soft rasp of her son's breathing. Mateo was curled up beside her, a light fever still warming his cheeks, one hand tucked beneath his chin, the other resting on his tattered plush rabbit. She brushed his hair back gently and exhaled, barely audible. Why hadn't he called the police? She'd been ready for it. Ready to beg. Ready to run. Instead, he had scanned the item, paid for it, and walked away like none of it had mattered. But it did matter. It mattered to her. Too much. The next morning came too quickly. Mateo was still weak and she had no sitter. Her phone buzzed with missed calls from the diner. Her shift started an hour ago. She silenced it, knowing she'd be docked again. No point explaining she couldn't leave a sick toddler alone. She made instant oatmeal with water, fed her son slowly, and tried not to cry when he pushed the bowl away halfway through. Then came the knock. Not loud. Measured. Unexpected. Eva flinched. She wasn't expecting anyone. No neighbors ever visited and she hadn't ordered anything. She opened the door with a cautious creak, keeping her body angled to shield the inside of her apartment. And froze. Liam Ashford stood in the hallway. No suit this time. Just a dark sweater, jeans, a coat draped over one arm. His hair was slightly tousled, like he'd run his hands through it on the way here. "How do you know where I live?" she asked, her voice sharp with disbelief. "You gave your name last night." I checked the transaction records and asked a manager. He paused. "Not hard." She frowned, fingers tightening on the doorknob. "So now what? You changed your mind? You're here to make sure I feel small." "No," he said simply. "I'm here to ask if you want a job." Silence. Eva blinked. "What?" "I own several properties, a few of them under renovation. One of the community kitchens needs a temporary supervisor. It's part-time, paid weekly, flexible hours." She scoffed. "Why would you? Because you didn't run?" Liam cut in, his gaze steady. "And because you tried to pay even when you didn't have enough. That's more than I can say for some of my board members." "I don't need pity," she snapped. "Good. I'm not offering any." His tone wasn't unkind, just firm, calm. "You need money. I need someone who won't steal when no one's looking." She hesitated. Her heart raced. This had to be some kind of trick. Rich men didn't offer second chances, at least not to women like her. "What's the catch?" she asked finally. "You show up," he said. "Do the job. You get paid. And if I say no?" Liam gave a small shrug. "Then you don't owe me anything." "You already don't." She looked over her shoulder where Mateo had started coughing in his sleep. Her body tightened instinctively, arms folding as if she could shield him from the world. Eva didn't trust easily, especially not men in power. But her rent was due in 5 days. And her son needed medicine. "Fine," she muttered. "I'll try it." Liam nodded once. No smile. No comment. Just respect. He stepped back and handed her a printed sheet with an address and start time. Then he turned to leave. But before he disappeared down the stairs, he looked back once and said quietly, "You don't owe me trust, Eva. Just give me proof that you deserve better than the world gave you." And this time she didn't have an answer. Just a lump in her throat. The building wasn't what she expected. Eva had imagined something sterile, maybe a soulless corporate office where she'd scrub floors or stand behind a counter with a fake smile. But instead, she found herself in a former church now transformed into a community center. Exposed brick, tall windows with chipped edges, the smell of fresh paint and brewing coffee. The kitchen in the back had mismatched cupboards, stacks of donated supplies, and an old stereo playing soft jazz. It wasn't glamorous, but it was warm. Real. She stood awkwardly near the sink, apron tied loosely, glancing around at the volunteers, retirees, a few teenagers, a woman with a baby strapped to her chest. No one looked twice at her. She was grateful for that. At noon, the door creaked open and Liam walked in, a box in his arms. Eva stiffened. He wore a black shirt rolled at the sleeves, no jacket this time. His presence wasn't loud, but it drew eyes anyway. He moved like someone who owned the space without trying. "Brought more donations," he said, placing the box gently on the counter. "Formula, cleaning wipes, canned goods. From one of the warehouses." Eva nodded, avoiding eye contact. "Thanks. Kitchen looks good," he added. "You settling in?" She shrugged. "It's work." Liam gave her a look, quietly assessing. "And Mateo?" Her eyes snapped to his. "He's fine. Better." "I'm glad." She didn't say thank you. Not out of rudeness, she just didn't know how. He didn't press. Instead, he helped stack the cans without another word. For the next 20 minutes, they moved around each other in a strange kind of rhythm. She stirred soup, he handed her ladles. She passed him the dish soap, he washed silently beside her. No small talk. No intrusion. Just the clink of dishes and soft music filling the quiet. Then one of the kids from the lunch line came racing in, chasing a toy that bounced off the counter and rolled right to Eva's feet. She bent to grab it and flinched when pain shot up her side. "You okay?" Liam asked, immediately stepping closer. "Just sore. I carried Mateo half the night." He didn't say anything, just gently reached out, palm hovering near her back, not touching. "Respectful. Careful. You shouldn't have to carry everything alone," he murmured. She looked at him, then really looked. Not the polished millionaire with sharp edges, but the man standing in this worn-down kitchen, sleeves damp, eyes tired but present. And in that moment, something cracked open inside her. Something she didn't want to admit had been waiting. Later that afternoon, as she packed leftovers into to-go containers, Liam stood near the doorway, coat in hand. "I'll be back next week," he said. "Let me know if anything's missing." Eva hesitated, then cleared her throat. "You don't have to keep checking on me." "I'm not," he replied. "I'm checking on the place." She arched a brow. He gave a faint smile. "Okay, maybe a little of both." A silence lingered between them, not awkward, just unspoken. Then she surprised herself. "Mateo likes trains," she said softly. "And oatmeal with honey. Just in case you ever wanted to know something real." Liam's expression shifted. Something quiet lit in his eyes. "Thank you for telling me." And when he left this time, she watched him go. Not because she didn't trust him, but because she already kind of did. Eva didn't tell anyone who he was. Not the volunteers. Not the elderly woman who handed her homemade cookies every Wednesday. Not even the teenage girl who once whispered, "He looks like someone off a magazine cover." She just smiled faintly and said, "He helps out sometimes." But inside she knew. Liam Ashford wasn't just some helpful guy with good cheekbones. He was the Ashford, the face behind Ashford Markets, Ashford Real Estate, and a dozen foundations that wore his name like gold trim. He didn't just sign checks. He built the system. And for reasons she still didn't understand, he kept showing up. Once with fresh books for the center's reading corner. Another time with gloves and hats for the kids. Once, Mateo even sat in his lap while Liam tied a new pair of shoes for him. They both pretended it wasn't a big deal, but Eva had to step away just to catch her breath. The problem was, people started noticing. It started with whispers. Then headlines. Ashford spotted at local shelter, secret project or new scandal? The billionaire and the baby MOM? Sources say romance may be brewing. Eva's phone buzzed with texts from people she hadn't heard from in years. Her manager at the diner asked if she could do an interview. A woman she barely knew shoved a mic in her face outside the center. And one morning she stepped outside with Mateo only to find a photographer hiding behind the trash bins. She covered her son's face, heart pounding. That afternoon, Liam came to her door before she even called him. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. Her eyes flared. "You told them?" "No, I never said a word. But they know. About me. About Mateo." "I'm handling it," he said. "I have lawyers." "I don't want lawyers, Liam. I want this to stop." He looked at her, then really looked, and something in his face cracked. "I didn't plan for this," he said. "I didn't expect to care like this." Eva's breath caught. She hated that her pulse reacted to that. Hated that her heart skipped, even as the world spun too fast around her. "Don't say things like that," she whispered. "Why not?" "Because I don't have room for hope. I don't have time for maybes." He stepped closer. "Then let me make it real." She looked away. "You don't get to fix everything with money." "I'm not trying to fix you," he said, voice low. "I'm trying to stand beside you." And for a second, she wanted to believe him. But then the center's director called, apologetic, shaky, saying the board had suspended her pending public image concerns. The story had blown too big, too fast. Donations were threatened. And suddenly Eva was once again left without work. When she told Liam the next day, his expression went cold. "I'll fix this," he said through clenched teeth. "No," she snapped. "You won't. Because then everyone will say I'm your charity case. That I'm just some girl you plucked off the floor to make yourself feel good. Is that what you think this is?" "I don't know what this is," she cried, tears she hated spilling out. "But I had something that felt like mine for once. And now it's gone." Liam didn't speak. He just stood there, jaw tight, hands in fists. And then he left. No goodbye. No promise. No fix. And Eva stood there alone, shaking, not because he didn't stay, but because she wished he had. 3 days passed. No calls. No messages. No sign of Liam Ashford. Eva didn't tell herself she was waiting. She focused on Mateo, on keeping him warm, fed, and safe. She applied to a night cleaning shift at the hospital and sold her last bracelet online to cover the power bill. But still, his silence hurt in a place she didn't know she'd left open. Then came Sunday. The community center called. The director's voice trembled with disbelief. "Eva, the board reversed the suspension. All of it. An anonymous donor just covered a full year of operations. On one condition, every original staff member is reinstated, including you." Her knees nearly gave out. She knew exactly who it was. Monday morning, she came home from Mateo's checkup to find a box outside her apartment door. No label. No card. Just a plain white ribbon tied once in the center. Inside was a single item, a new coat, soft charcoal gray. Her size. Her style. Underneath it, a folded envelope. She opened it with shaking fingers. You once told me Mateo likes trains. I hope you both like where I'm taking you next. This isn't charity, Eva. This is me choosing you, openly. You don't owe me anything. But I'd like a chance to earn something from you. If you're willing. L. She stared at the note for a long time. Then down at the coat. Then at Mateo, who reached into the box and pulled out a small toy train with wide eyes. And in that moment, the wall around her heart didn't crumble, it opened. That evening, Eva showed up at the center early. Liam was already there, helping a kid fix a broken bike in the yard. His shirt sleeves were rolled, a smudge of grease on his cheek. He looked up and froze when he saw her. She walked straight to him. I got your note, she said softly. He rose slowly, searching her face. And? She reached into her pocket, pulled out the toy train, and placed it in his hand. Her fingers lingered. I'm not saying yes to everything, she said. But I'm saying, I don't want to run anymore. Liam's voice dropped. And I don't want to let you go. His hand cupped her cheek before she could stop him, thumb brushing gently over her skin. She leaned into it just barely, but it was enough. They didn't kiss. Not yet. But the air between them carried something stronger than promises. It carried choice. Respect. A future that might actually belong to both of them. And as Mateo peeked through the window with a mouth full of crackers and a face full of wonder, Eva smiled for the first time in a long time. Not because a millionaire saved her, but because he saw her and chose to stay.
Bye, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.